Hello everybody, Holly, hi! I'm finally here doing this video. Um, I guess the first thing I'm going to say is this video may get darker. It's okay. Please stick around and listen to it because you're not going to miss anything. I'm not going to be showing a bunch of things that you'll miss. It's all verbal except things that I'm going to later put on the screen and you'll be able to see that just fine. It's like 4:30 p.m. As I'm making this video. It's December, it's almost winter officially, and it's just the days are so short. This is the best I can do because I'm really anxious to get this video out. I think that maybe it'll be useful for some people and really help some people out. So I'm really anxious. I know, this month a lot of people like to do baking and a lot of it. So, Holly requested this video. She made the suggestion for this video, and so that's who she is. Hi again, Holly. I want to thank you for suggesting this because I think it is a really wonderful topic, and I hope I can do it justice. Thank you. So, I am going to, first of all, if you've clicked on this video because you're diabetic or you know somebody who's diabetic and you want to learn about that, I do think that this is a good video for you to watch. I think you can learn some things, some great things from this video, but it's not specifically for diabetic people. I want to also encourage you to check out the work of Dr. Neil Bernard, and I'm going to put that on the screen. Neil Bernard is with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, PCRM, and he is just brilliant, absolutely wonderful on the subject of diabetes. You can find some of his stuff on YouTube if you try a YouTube search for him. He appeared in Forks Over Knives and some other educational videos that I've watched, and I love his work. There are some slight differences from what I'm saying. Talking to the general populace, there are some slight differences if you are diabetic. So when I say fruit juice, for instance, diabetics really should not be consuming pineapple and pineapple juice, I'm told by Dr. Neil Bernard, and like I said, I really trust his work and think he's great. So, I hope I don't bore people too much. Part of the reason it's taken so long for me to get this video out is because I wanted to do a little bit of research so that I could add some things to the knowledge and wisdom that I already have. And I'm going to try not to get too scientific, too much into the pleasure trap stuff. The Pleasure Trap is a book by, what is his name? Douglas Lyle. I'm going to put that on the screen now. Very informative, wonderful book. And to try and briefly sum up what the pleasure trap is, because it pertains to the topic here on hand, and because I am going to mention it a little bit, maybe, later. The pleasure trap is where science, modernization, like human doings, have created things that trick your brain chemistry. And so some examples of this are like cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, and highly processed foods. Also, lights do things to your brain and mess with your natural rhythms in your body. Or natural rhythms, artificial lights, things like that. They're artificial things that manipulate that, and basically nature didn't intend that. And when nature created all of us, humans and non-humans, in the animal kingdom, we were programmed in our genes, our genetics, our DNA, we're programmed to seek out what is going to give us great health, what's going to make us the healthiest. And we are programmed to conserve energy, and we are programmed to do what we can to reproduce. So in nature, foods are whole and they're complete. And when we eat, say, an apple, when we eat any plants in nature that are not poisonous to us, obviously, don't go eat poisonous mushrooms, but any foods that are foods in nature, and I'm going to use an apple. That apple has all the components to break itself down in harmony with your digestive system. That is, your digestive system will break that apple down easily if your digestive system, your body is healthy, because the apple in its whole form has everything it needs to do that. It has fiber, it has various vitamins and minerals. So your body will work with this apple. It will take what it needs, the vitamins it needs. It will pass out the rest that it doesn't need. So food, what's happened is some scientists got in a lab and they messed with the food. They started processing the food and they changed that up. Fiber has been extracted, so it's harder to digest. Some vitamins and minerals and nutrients have been extracted, and that does things to your body as well, or makes your body do things as well. And sugar and fat and salts have been concentrated, so there's more of them than in nature. Sugars. I'm under the impression date sugars, coconut sugars, apple sugars, that is what they are. That is that fruit. It has, what was that word I just used? Sorry, guys. Concentrated. Yes, it is concentrated the sugars, and the other stuff is depleted. So, I'm going to be talking about a few things in this video. I'm going to be talking about sugar, cane sugar, white refined sugar. I'm going to be talking about artificial sweeteners, chemical sweeteners. I'm going to be talking about alternatives to both of those. I'm going to be talking about healthy and kind of my opinion of the in-between things, and what is healthy. I'm going to be talking about how you can bake healthier. And I guess I'm going to jump in with my experience first. I, for a while in my life, consumed a lot of sugar. I would drink sugar and coffee every day, usually more than once a day, and that's white refined cane sugar. I would drink sugar and I would eat sugar and processed foods constantly, donuts, all this stuff. And that's what I used. I used white sugar. And anything else, that was in processed foods, I wasn't mindful about it. I didn't read the packages really. I didn't look into it. So things that are commonly found, like high fructose corn syrup, things like that, I was consuming them. And I had a lot of issues. Looking back, I certainly had a lot of issues. I had anxiety. I had really bad anxiety, depression. I was out of balance in a number of areas of my life, and my body. I got colds and I got sick. Every year I would catch a cold or flu or something, and it was bad, real mucousy, red nose, all of that. I had aches and pains. I was heavy. I wasn't fat, okay, but my body was heavy. Sometimes it was hard for me to drag myself out of bed. And, I'm not blaming this all on cane sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I should say I was also not vegan at the time. I guess I was a flexitarian, vegetarian, lacto, octo vegetarian. My diet consisted of a lot of hens, eggs, and periods, because that's what they are. Dairy, cow's breast milk, and processed food, as well as caffeine. And I smoked cigarettes. So I can't blame it all on the sugars. But what I can tell you is my story. So I decided to become vegan, and I did so. So I gave up dairy and so cow's milk and everything that's made from it, cheese and butter, etc. Well, we have vegan cheese. I gave up eggs and so forth. But I did not give up the processed food at this time. I did not give up sugar. So I would say for about a year, maybe shy of a year, 10 months or something like that, but the better part of a year, I ate a lot of vegan processed foods that were highly processed. Canned soups, vegan macaroni and cheese from a box, vegan burritos constantly, and I still consumed sugar in my coffee, and other processed foods, juices, things like that, sugar. And I went through a detox phase with this. I got a lot of acne. My face was really greasy. I got really gassy in the beginning when I was vegan, becoming vegan. I saw some problems go away, but I was also still pretty anxious. It was a detox phase. Some of it's hard to describe, but at any rate, things got better as time went on. The moment I went vegan, like things just started getting better. But I did go through that detox phase, which in the moment didn't feel very good. However, I didn't get sick that year with a cold or anything, as an example. So, about 10 months in, or a year in, somewhere in there, I took a course in plant-based nutrition from the T. Colin Campbell Foundation and from Cornell. It was an online course. I believe it's still up and running, that people can still take it if you want to check that out and take it for yourself. At this time, I was learning about a whole food plant-based diet, and that was a vegan diet that did not include the processed foods. And this was interesting, and I could clearly understand what the science that I was being told about and how our bodies work. And I started to understand that the processed foods were holding me back. And so I started eliminating them and reducing them. And I gave up sugar, white sugar. That was one of the first things that I gave up. And I've come to find that white sugar is very often processed with bone char. Okay, I actually found this out when I was vegan. So what did I do? Instead of stopping buying the white refined cane sugar, I went and I bought white refined vegan cane sugar, which means that when it was processed, they used something else other than bone char during that step. So anyhow, I kind of backtracked there. Moving forward again, when I gave up the sugar, I felt better. I felt less anxious. I felt more balanced, more calm. And I started giving up some of the other processed foods and reducing them as well. So that was a few years ago. And what I have noticed, and why I've told what my intention when I started telling this story was to get to the point where I could tell you that what I have done is for the last 3 years, I guess it is now, going on 4 years, I have consumed some white sugar that was vegan, but very small amount compared to what I used to consume. I mean, the total amount that I consumed in that 3 years is probably this cup's worth. Okay. And when I consume it, I feel a difference in my body instantly. I feel my vibration lower, and it's kind of like it makes you sadder and brings you down a little bit. So I don't like it anymore. I don't enjoy it. I don't like to be brought down. And that's what it is for me. It brings my vibration down, and we all know it's bad for our teeth and so on and so forth. So it's bad for a lot of other things too. White refined cane sugar has all of the nutrients stripped from the sugar cane plant, and so that's my experience with that. I have used raw sugar, and it feels a little better, but for me, it still doesn't feel very great. So I don't keep raw sugar in here. I don't consume that very often at all. I won't say that I'll never consume raw sugar. If there's a vegan chocolate bar that I really want someday and it has raw sugar in it, I might eat it. Or if I'm in a social situation, I may eat it if it seems right to me at the time to do so. But what I've also learned about sugar from my personal experience is it's very addictive. And I have learned the science behind why that is, but I've felt it firsthand. It's very addictive. When I was consuming sugar, I needed it on a regular basis. It was like caffeine coffee is. You get a perk, and then you crash, and then you want to get back up at some point. You want your perk again. And it kind of becomes who you are. You kind of assume that identity of, like, I am a person who drinks coffee. That is who I am. If I do not have my coffee, I am not me. Give me my coffee. It's kind of the same thing with sugar, or at least it was for me. I've gone too long without sugar, and I didn't make the connection at the time, but looking back, I see it. If I'd gone a certain amount of time without sugar, I was like, I don't feel like with myself, something's wrong. I'm going to get a candy bar. And that was before I was vegan. But, it's definitely addictive. I have definitely experienced that for myself. And the flip side of the coin with that, the good thing about that is that once it's out of your system, you don't feel that way anymore. You feel better, and you don't crave it. You don't want it. You don't have withdrawal symptoms for it. So if you're addicted to sugar right now, whether you realize you're addicted to it or not, I think one of the signs that you would be addicted to it is if you think you can't or don't want to live without it, or give it up, and you use it often, say once a week, okay, or more. So where was I? I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I was talking about how sugar was addictive, white sugar. Oh, if you want to learn more about the why it's addictive, the science of it that I was talking about, how I had learned The Pleasure Trap, Douglas Lyle, and you don't have to necessarily buy the book or whatever, put a YouTube search in for him. I think I mentioned that. I don't want to be too redundant. I want to get into this. So I've been talking long enough so that I want to throw out healthy stuff if you're not going to stick through the whole video, which I hope you do. I recommend it, but the healthiest way to get sweet is to eat fruits, eat things, whole foods that are naturally sweet. You can bake with whole foods. Um, raw cooking, raw cooking, raw food prep is one that does it a lot, and that's where I've found the most recipes that do this. And I've tried a few, and what I've tried has been really good. Raw pie crusts, these sweet, the ones I made were sweet, delicious pie crusts. They use dates to sweeten them. And it's simple to do this. You need a food processor for a lot of raw food prep, but it's just a few ingredients. You put it in a food processor, and there may be a few more steps sometimes, but a lot of times doing it raw, it saves a lot of time. So anyway, dates are really big, especially with raw cooking. So you can make things that way. And you can sweeten with fruits in a lot of other ways too. You can use ovens and so forth, but smoothies, fruits all the way. That's what I do anyway. I use unsweetened soy milk where the only ingredient is organic soy and filtered water or reverse osmosis water. And I put my fruit in there, and they're delicious. I love them. Applesauce is minimally processed. Okay, peanut butter, when it's fresh ground peanut butter, that's minimally processed, hardly processed, and that's great. That's basically a whole food, just a little different. So applesauce is something you can bake with sometimes to make things sweet. Also, you can use bananas when you're baking. If you've never done this before, this might sound really crazy or hard. Like it would be too hard to learn how to do this, but it's not. And I'm going to do some more research, and I'm going to try to make another video for you that it may come out as a blog, giving you some recipes and instruction on how to kind of ways you can do this. So for example of what I'm hoping to do in the future, what I intend to do in video here with the fruits and how to cook with them. I'm just going to do a comparison. I have some agave here, and on this it says recipe substitution, 2/3 cup agave equals 1 cup sugar. So I'm hoping when I do some research I can find some things like that with fruits. 1/2 banana equals, reduce liquid by da-da-da. So you can create your own recipes and apply it to your own recipes in the same way that you can veganize any traditional, that's so horrible to say traditional, but how about if we say traditional standard American diet recipe? Okay, there. Any non-vegan recipe you can veganize. Do it with the healthy sugar, the healthy sweeteners, which are whole foods. So, touched on that. Applesauce, bananas, dates are really popular ones, but you can do it with a lot of different fruits, and I'm working on that. Fruit juices also, however, if you're going fresh squeezed fruit juices are ideal. If you're going to buy them from a store, you have to realize that they're sitting there for a while, and I'm not sure what that does, but that might concentrate the sugar somewhat. Also, a really important thing with that is to make sure that you're using pure juice, that nothing gross is in there, because they slip sugar in so many juices. The fronts of the label mean nothing. It'll say 100% juice, and you turn it over and you read those ingredients, and oftentimes it is not 100% juice. You need to read the ingredients. You can trust what the ingredients say are accurate. Sometimes there's words there that you may not know, that you have to look up or investigate. I know it's a pain, but they get away with it, so it's the world we live in right now. Ignore the front with all of that natural 100%. Don't shop that way. Sincere advice for your health and well-being. Turn it over, read the ingredients. So if you can get a juice that just says ingredients, cranberry juice, not that that's very sweet, but ingredients, orange juice, or orange juice, filtered water, or reverse osmosis water, what you're comfortable with, because fluoride in water is a hard thing too. We can just do our best, right? So find what your best is. Understand that it's a path, that you don't get to flip your fingers, like you don't get to snap your fingers and be perfect. We really, it's not an all or nothing game. It's a path. It doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't mean that you don't do your best, but nobody's capable of waking up and understanding all of those Greek words overnight, or Latin, whatever they are. Anyhow, so fruit juices, if they are actually just fruit, and so on. Also, a good healthy alternative. Okay, so to break it up a little, I'm just going to talk about, go back to talking about me again. So what I cook with, what I bake with, like I said, I have tried some raw recipes. I do some raw things sometimes. There's a raw bonbon recipe I absolutely love, sweetened with dates again. I don't always, however. Things that I use: raw agave syrup, xylitol. Brown rice syrup I'd love to use. I don't know why I don't. Maybe it's a price thing and I'm just so used to agave, but I would. I do use fruits if I work it out. Sometimes I don't have to add any sweetener to oatmeal and things like that if I put enough fruit in there. And that is basically what I use. I use raw agave and xylitol. Stevia, when I'm talking to clients or whatever, I would use stevia myself, pure stevia. I have drank it in my tea at the tea shop. The thing about stevia is sometimes when you get it in the powdered form, it has maltodextrin added to it, and maltodextrin is yucky. If you don't know what the word is, don't eat it. That keeps it simple. And, we have the internet now. We're very fortunate. We have ways of looking things up. So if it's something that's important to you, like if it's something you want to eat, my rule of thumb for myself, anyhow, is if I see something and I want it and I flip it over and I look at the ingredients and there's something there I don't understand, I don't get it. And if I'm interested enough in it, I will look up the word. If I approve of what's in it, then I'll eat it. If I don't approve of what's in it, it's not worth it for me. If I didn't want it enough to look up the word to find out what it is, it doesn't matter. I didn't want it enough. There's just an abundance of other great foods out there, and that's the way it is. I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing out because there's an abundance and I'm having an abundance of other stuff. So, some things that I will not eat: corn syrup. And a big part of this is because corn is a major GMO crop. So unless it's organic GMO in countries where GMOs are permitted and they don't have to be labeled, it's very, very apt to be GMO'd corn. And messing with the genetic structure of a plant is just, you're tampering with it a lot. That's about as processed as you can get, is messing with the genetic structure. That's my opinion. So any derivative of that, which includes high fructose corn syrup, among other things, any derivative of corn, unless it's organic again. Xylitol can come from corn if it's organic xylitol. From corn, then fine. If not, then no. Let's see. I have some notes here because like I said, I did some research, and let's see. Yeah, brown rice syrup. Okay, yeah. So Now I'm getting back into those funky words that they put, those funky ingredients. Anything that ends in OSE is scientifically classified as sugar. Just so you know. So dextrose, sucrose, glucose, scientifically classified as a sugar. Lactose. So no, cow's breast milk is not a healthy option for a sweetener, and it's not healthy, period, for humans. It's only healthy for baby calves. With or without the lactose, it's not healthy. That's what I wanted to say. So I said I'd talk a little bit about artificial sweeteners and chemical sweeteners. Not good alternatives. That one's really obvious if you think about it, but a lot of people get tricked. It's just the indoctrination of our culture has taught us that we're omnivores, which means can eat anything. And it's amazing. I'm sorry, I get a little overwhelmed thinking back on the things I used to do blindly, but your body is not alien. It doesn't come from another planet, right? Like nature, it needs food from the earth to nourish it. Plant-based food, and so chemicals are not good for it. You're doing a big gamble if you're consuming artificial sweeteners as an alternative. This is on record. Of course, you can get conflicting things because the industries that sell food products get to do their own studies and whatnot to confuse the public and say whatever they want and pass it as scientific literature, which is not true. But I mean, it's true. They do that. Just manipulated, though. But aspartame has been shown to cause nerve damage, among other things. Artificial sweeteners, they do a lot of things to your body. The word artificial right there should tip people off. Not good. Chemical, that should also tip people off. If you're putting chemicals in your body, it's not good. It's not food. So any of those little pink packages that you get restaurants or yellow or blue, they're not equal to real food at all. Not natural sweeteners. They lower your vibration, and it's just not very splendid to consume them and then have to deal with the health effects of that. Anybody catch that? Alright, I hope you're still with me. I'm about to wrap it up. I just wanted to let people know that white cane sugar, your common table sugar, is it's refined, and the sugar gets depleted of all its life forces, its vitamins, its minerals. The body can't utilize it, it can't use it, and it chokes out the respiration of your cells. It makes it so your cells cannot breathe. So I've shared my experiences with you. I've shared what I know about sweetening and sweeteners. I would like to come back and get into it a little more with some healthy recipes and tips on how to cook. About to rip the video up. Wrap the video up. But before I do, I just want to throw out there too, honey is not a natural sweetener, because honey is bee food. And again, I'm not trying to jump down anybody's throat. I'm just trying to talk honestly about what I've learned in my experience in life. Honey is bee vomit. They actually regurgitate it up, and they eat it themselves. People don't need anything that comes from animals, like food-wise, to be healthy, and it actually does the opposite. It unhealthies us, okay? It hurts our bodies. So I see no reason why bee vomit or bee food created by bees would be healthy for humans. You know, I know a lot of people say it is, but I don't see how that would work. Um, if you like the taste of honey and you're whatever, there are bee-free honeys, which is a vegan creation designed to simulate honey for all of the people who want to taste it but don't want to consume it. Okay, so you can find that, I know, at veganessentials.com or veganstore.com. At least you could, last time I checked. So if you want to check that out, check that out. You may also be able to find it at, Whole Foods, a local co-op, or a local health food store. And again, you just have to decipher the ingredients. I'm sorry if that's not what you want to hear and you think that's a lot of work and you're not going to do it. What can I say? That's the world we live in. You can't believe what they say on the front of the packages because that's the advertising. They're allowed to say whatever they want. And honestly, the nutrition facts, that's like the manipulated science studies done by corporations trying to sell their products. So that's not very useful either. The ingredients is where it's at, and if you're not used to reading the ingredients, then it may sound like a burden to you, but I can definitely verify that in my life and the life of a number of my friends, my mom, clients, people I know, colleagues, it is more, it is definitely been worth it. It's saved our lives, and so I'm advocating it. It's the only way. So, I'm actually getting to wrap this video up. So exciting. It's been great being here and talking to you about this stuff. I, like I said, hope to be back soon doing what I said. Sorry, the image of cookies just popped in my head while I was trying to wrap this up. So, a little bit, I've talked about me and how I cook, and while I am intending to get back to you and do a video about, using bananas and applesauce and all of that good stuff and dates and giving you some raw food recipes and seeing what I can find for oven recipes and that as well. In the meantime, I will tell you what I do or what I would do if I had an oven. I don't have an oven. If I was making some cookies, direct substitute of xylitol. I would use xylitol instead of the sugar. If it said a cup of sugar, I would use xylitol, a cup of xylitol. And of course, I would make them vegan. When it comes to cow's milk, since we already said lactose, and that's what that is, I'm going to just go a little further out of the sugar zone. When it comes to milk in a recipe, you can use an exact substitution of any plant-based milk. So 1 cup of milk can be 1 cup of cashew, rice, almond, soy, any of those milks. Again, organic soy I recommend. And as far as egg goes, there's different reasons that people use hen periods in cooking. I know that's offensive to some people, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's used to help things rise. Sometimes it is used just for the consistency of it, as thickener, just a number of reasons. And it's not too complicated to learn them and how to cook with them, I don't believe. A lot of times I use flax egg, which is flaxseed and water. However, the easiest thing to do and I feel the best thing to do if you're a beginner, what I recommend if you don't have, unless you are really dedicated and really excited and happy and want to just learn, and you don't have that much else on your schedule right away, what I recommend is you go out and you buy some energy egg replacer, some vegan egg replacer, and you use that because that'll work regardless of what the cause for it being in that recipe is, whether it's to help it rise or to thicken it or whatnot. Energy egg replacer, or any vegan egg replacer that'll do that. So that is what I would do. Again, with the agave, I might also use agave. Sometimes I do. And this doesn't have to be for cookies. This could be bread or any other recipe that you have. I'm going to read what the bottle says here. It says 2/3 cup agave equals 1 cup sugar. When cooking with agave, reduce all other liquids by 1/4 cup. So if you had a recipe and the only liquid in it was 1 cup of water, and it called for some sugar, you can replace the sugar with agave and reduce the water to 3/4 of a cup. Now it says 2/3 cup agave equals 1 cup sugar, but I'll tell you, I do a direct transfer with agave too. I just a cup for a cup, and it doesn't seem to make much of a difference for me either. So if you hate math, that's that. And again, agave is, when cooking with agave, reduce all other liquids by 1/4 cup. And one little thing about agave, the reason I said raw agave, and I have used non-raw agave also, raw agave is just less processed than the other agaves, so healthier. And so yes, now I'm wrapping it up. Everyone be well, and season's greetings to you.